Why does every post have that one barracks where nobody wants to live? Building 447. Everyone called it the haunted house, even though officially that wasn't its name. The place looked normal from outside. 3 stories, brick exterior, regular military barracks. But nobody wanted to live there. New soldiers got assigned there as punishment or because everything else was full. I got building 447 my first week at Fort Campbell. Private Reed Foster, fresh out of basic training, didn't know any better. Figured barracks were barracks. My roommate was this guy named Lane Sutton. Been there 6 months already. When I walked in with my duffel bag, he just shook his head. Sorry man, you'll understand soon enough. That first night, I understood. Around 2 in the morning, footsteps in the hallway, heavy boots walking back and forth for hours. I got up to check. Hallway was empty, completely dark and silent. Went back to bed. Footsteps started again immediately. Lane didn't even wake up. You get used to it, he mumbled. Happens every night. Next morning at formation, I mentioned it to some other soldiers. They all had the same reaction. Knowing looks, slight smiles. Building 447, right? Asked Specialist Vincent Cruz. Yeah, that place has issues. Over the next few weeks, I learned all of Building 447's problems. Showers that randomly ran ice cold. Doors that wouldn't stay closed no matter how many times maintenance fixed the latches. Lights flickering at exactly 3 in the morning. The worst part was 3rd floor, east wing. Nobody lasted more than a month up there before requesting emergency transfers. Soldiers would wake up with their wall lockers open, gear scattered across the floor. Electronics would die overnight even when fully charged. One guy named Wyatt claimed he saw a shadow figure standing in his doorway. Next morning, he filed paperwork to live off post. Paid out of pocket just to get away from Building 447. Command knew something was wrong. They'd investigated multiple times over the years. Brought in engineers, electricians, plumbers, everything checked out normal. Building was structurally sound with no obvious defects, but the problems continued. Soldiers kept requesting transfers. Morale in Building 447 was always rock bottom. That's when Sergeant First Class Dalton Perry got involved. Old timer, 22 years in the Army. He'd been stationed at Campbell back in the 90s, heard all the stories about 447 even then. Perry volunteered to spend a night in the 3rd floor east wing, alone. Said he'd get to the bottom of it once and for all. Set up a sleeping bag in the worst room, the one where Wyatt had seen his shadow figure. Perry brought a flashlight, his phone, and told everyone he'd report back in the morning. Next day at formation, Perry looked exhausted. Bags under his eyes, hadn't shaved, still wearing the same clothes from the night before. Found your problem, he announced. It's not ghosts. Turns out Building 447 shared a wall with a motor pool maintenance bay. That bay ran 24-hour operations. Night shift mechanics working on vehicles, running engines, moving equipment. The vibrations traveled through the foundation into 447's walls, created those footstep sounds, made doors swing open, caused the building to settle and shift constantly, which explained the flickering lights and plumbing issues. 3rd floor east wing was worse because it sat directly above the bay's hydraulic lift system. That lift ran all night, creating low-frequency vibrations that messed with electronics and made people feel uneasy without knowing why. Perry brought in acoustic engineers. They confirmed everything. Building 447 was basically sitting on top of a giant vibrating massage chair that never turned off. The solution? Move the motor pool bay operations to the south side of their building, away from 447's shared wall. Cost about $40,000 in renovations. Command initially refused. Too expensive for what they called a comfort issue. That's when Perry did something brilliant. He moved the battalion commander into Building 447 for 1 week. 3rd floor, east wing, the worst room. Commander lasted 3 nights. Signed the renovation approval on day 4. Motor pool operations moved within 2 months. Building 447 went silent for the first time in 20 years. The transformation was immediate. Doors stayed closed, showers maintained temperature, lights worked normally. 3rd floor became the most requested location because it had the best views of the base. Lane and I stayed in 447 throughout the whole transition. Got to experience the before and after firsthand. Kind of missed the footsteps, Lane joked one quiet night. Place feels weird when it's actually peaceful. Here's the crazy part. After the renovations, they found old maintenance logs from when Building 447 was first constructed in 1989. Turned out the original plans had the motor pool bay on the opposite side of the building. Some contractor changed it last minute to save money on plumbing runs. That decision caused 30 years of soldiers to think they were living in a haunted barracks. The motor pool sergeant who approved that original change retired in 1992. Probably never knew his cost-cutting decision made life miserable for thousands of soldiers over 3 decades. Perry got a commendation for solving the mystery. Used it as a teaching example in his leadership classes. Sometimes the simplest explanation is the right one. Just took someone willing to spend a night in the problem to figure it out. Building 447 is now the most popular barracks on post. Soldiers request it specifically. The haunted house nickname stuck, but now people use it ironically. And Lane, he re-enlisted specifically to stay at Campbell. Said after surviving old Building 447, everything else in the Army felt easy by comparison.